Welcome to the richness of our lives. I'm Mary Scott, and this is where we celebrate the wisdom, courage, and stories that shape us. Every 2 weeks, I sit down with entrepreneurs, coaches, and remarkable people who've walked through fire and come out transformed. This isn't just about success. It's about the richness of the human experience. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's dive deep. Hello and welcome to the Richness of Our Lives podcast. I'm your host today, Mary Scott, and a big welcome to you. And if this is the first podcast you have listened to, my goodness, this is special. You are in for a big treat, so be sure to stick around. My guest today is on the other side of the world to me in Florida. She is an awesome woman, because I want to say that from the moment I met this woman, I thought, she's made her mark. She's an entrepreneur, she's an author, she's a transformational speaker. You know, the list goes on for this woman. Please welcome Felicia McCaskill to our call today. Felicia, hello. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you, Miss Mary? And thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm
Oh,
excited.
you are so welcome. So let's start growing up in South Carolina. Tell us about that experience and what happened then.
Growing up in South Carolina, I would say one of my biggest life lessons was when I started my first job called McDonald's. And which I told my mom, I said, I will never work at McDonald's, right? And here I was, Miss Mary, after several rejections, found myself asking my Mom, which position should I apply for? He said, apply for the manager's position. So I can't be the manager, Mom. Are you kidding me? And she said, oh man, Kent died a long time ago. And I was like, okay, let me just apply for the manager position. And when I applied for that position, I didn't get the manager's position per se, but I was able to lock down the position as a supervisor. But what that taught me, during that moment is to go for it, go for the top, aim for the top. And, although I wasn't qualified, I did it anyway. And that moment defined my life. Do it anyway.
And
Go
how old
for
were
it.
you? How old were you then when you went for the manager?
That time, McDonald's, what, 15? That was my very first job, 15 or 16. But it was a defining moment for the rest of my life. I always went for the top, I always dreamed big.
I think that's absolutely remarkable, isn't it? Your very first job, mum says, go for it.
Mhm.
Speaking about your mum, she's been quite influential in your life, correct?
Absolutely. Very influential. Yes. To this day,
Tell us about your relationship with her.
my mom's our relationship, because my mom had me when she was 16 years old. And she loves to tell that story. Been married since I've been 16 years old. And she was like new to everything. And here she was pregnant with me, starting her first job at DuPont, and just figuring it out. But we're she's my mom will be 71 actually on January 16th, and here I am 53. So look to her more so for a while as being my sister, you know? But I had to realize, hey, she's mom. That's not your sister. You're the only girl, but that's not your sister. That's mom. But that defined our relationship. We're very close, very close. And that's why, when I was able to take the early retirement and I was currently in, Raleigh, North Carolina, after being, rejected from being able to work here in Sarasota, I was hurt. I was crushed. And I went through a depression because I felt like I needed to be where she was to help take care of her. So that's how close we are.
Wow. Isn't that an absolutely beautiful thing that she was like your sister? And that, to me, that's really, I don't know, it's special. I get sort of goosebumps about that because there's lots of good relationships with mother and daughter. And sometimes I see them around, I can see arm in arm walking. And
Right.
how much do you think her approach to life, I mean, clearly, right from that position of go for the manager, has she been the champion to you to go for the stars or the moon all the time?
Mm, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, every step of the way. This is a woman who's not only my mother, and she just makes me proud to be a woman herself because she's very strong. She is full of wisdom. So she's impacted my life not only as a mother, but also as my spiritual leader. So, she's everything to me. If it's not giving me, that womanly, advice, here she is praying for me. Here she is fasting for me. Here she is, encouraging me. Here she is, pouring into me. And when you're on a journey and you have those big dreams and aspirations, you need that kind of positive energy or those kind of positive seeds pouring into you and being planted into you because everybody's not going to be or understand your journey. But when you have a mother who understands your journey, but not only understands your journey, she sees you. This is huge. It's huge. So, I give my mom, a lot of credit and I salute her and I give her flowers, here on earth.
That's beautiful. How much do you think that's impacted your work? You're doing a lot of, you know, giving back. How much do you think that's impacted your work in terms of being there for other women and other young girls?
Mm, a huge percentage. Not only has it impacted my life in the way that I give back and pour into others, um, my mother, she serves alongside me. She's a part of, my nonprofit organization. She serves as our Chica Wise Council because, here we are. We have a organization called Chica God Promise, whereas our mission is to empower women to live impactful lives within their communities. Or you have the business side, but when you have a faith-based organization, you also need that, wise counsel who's going to make sure that your organization is in alignment with the word of God. And that's she serves as that on our organization. So she's not only pointing to me and praying for me, but she prays for these women who are part of our organization from all over the world. She's pointing to them as well as if they were her own daughter. Like I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I have this one young lady who doesn't have a mother. She lost her mom. And she calls my mom mommy. It melts my heart because she's looking to my mother as a motherly figure because she says, first, I didn't want to talk to your mom because it was scary. She said, because she reminded me so much of my mother. But now she calls my mom. My mom prays with her. So she serves as a huge impact within everything that I do and into my giving back. What she pours into me, not only keep it for myself, but I give it back out. And it's just like what Jesus pours into me when he gives me his joy, his peace, the wisdom. I don't just keep it for me. I don't want to hoard it. I want to give it back out because that's why he created me to give others hope as he's placed people in my life to give hope. And I love it.
So tell me, what work are you doing in your nonprofit? I mean, it sounds to me like, and not only your mother, but I suspect you're doing quite a lot of mothering as well.
Oh, I never looked at it that way, Miss Mary. I just looked at it as if, hey, it's my calling and I was called to serve. And this nonprofit was birthed out of my wilderness because during my wilderness, I felt stuck. I felt like I couldn't turn to the left nor the right. And I felt like I did not have the support I needed at that time. So that's how this nonprofit was birthed, because I said, okay, now that I am out of the wilderness, I'm very sure there's another girl, a woman out there who needs support, who needs to reclaim her voice, who needs to reclaim her identity, who needs to know her worth, who needs to know that, hey, God gave each and every one of us a gift and a talent. You have greatness inside of you, but a lot of times it needs to be nurtured. And that's where I come into play. And that's why I created this organization.
Because it's been my experience, and I'll be interested to hear yours, that not everyone has a mother like yours that is impactful, that's a rock behind them, becomes the wise woman of, the organization. And, it's interesting because, oh, well, I started life as a nurse and then a psychotherapist. And not, I haven't had children myself, but I consider I've probably mothered thousands over the years. And when you think about it like that, when you're significant like you are, young women who certainly must be craving what you've had all your life, I think it's a beautiful thing because your mother supports you. It's that whole notion of cheer squad, isn't it? And then you support them and you give to them. And I think it's a beautiful thing. You said nurturing them. And
Mhm.
when I look around now, I think just how much nurturing is actually going on in the world. And
Right.
my experience is that quite often our own cup is not full, so there's no way that we can nurture others. And it
Absolutely.
sounds like you, with your organization, are filling a huge gap out there. Is that what you'd say about it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Because Miss Mary, at one point in my life, was broke and broken. And I was reminded of the fact that I could not pour from an empty cup. Couldn't. So that's when Jesus had to come along and say, hey, let me strengthen you. Let me mold and shape you into the woman I created you to be. And that's when I established, what I called my her formula, or when he gave me the her formula, which is healed, empowered, and resilient. So he healed me, empowered me, and strengthened me. Now I'm able to not pour, I don't pour from an empty cup. I have something to give to them because he took me through it.
That's right. It was you spoke before about the wilderness. Would you share some of that experience? Because clearly you talked about there was a defining moment earlier in your life, but I think there's been several others that there was a mark where from here on, this has to change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, that mark was, the defining, turning point was when remember I told you how close my mom and I was, and I felt like, I need to take care of her. I need to be with her. And I My mom and I had set out to relocate to Florida. Can you hear me? We set out to relocate to Florida and got here and got situated and everything. And my job told me there's not an appetite for remote working. In that moment, I had to abruptly find a place to live. And I ended up living in with my friend for almost 3 years. But the first year out of those three, I was depressed, depressed. And um, I had to make, I had to talk to myself. I had to encourage me. And I said to myself, I said, you were not created to just sit around for, the rest of your life. This is not, it can't end this way. You have a lot of inside of you. You're very adventurous. I had to talk to myself, you're very talented. And I said, you have to get up and do something. So I prayed a prayer as I was walking one day and I said, Jesus, said, no, you created me for purpose. And I said, I am going to get out here and I'm going to find it. And I said, but I need for you to give me energy and I need to get back in shape because I had lost myself. And he did just that. I got on internet one day and I began searching for for energy. And I found this lady on there, her name was Stormy Wellington. And she was making her Delgado mushroom coffee and taking this supplement and opened up the supplement and pouring it in her coffee. And she said that was NRG. The NRG was for energy. It helped you focus and it will give you clarity. And I said, if I don't get anything else, I'm going to go in her link in her bio and I'm going to grab that product. But I ended up grabbing 3 products and joining this company called Total Life Changes. I took those products, and within three months, Miss Mary, I lost almost 52 pounds. I began losing weight, but in
Wow.
total, I lost 52 pounds.
Wow.
And what that helped me do, it gave me my confidence back.
Mm.
Gave me my confidence, gave me the energy, and then that's where my first book was birthed. I wrote a did a workbook and I did a journal called Chica God Promise Manifested, and I got this organization called Chica God Promise started.
All of that.
All
All,
of that in my wilderness. I was stuck.
and that unstuck you. That's not grammatically correct, but it's it's so interesting, isn't it? Because to go from wandering around aimless, depressed, to suddenly step into such purpose, and not only that, to have clarity and focus. And what is interesting about what you're saying is that once you step into your path, and in this case, a chosen path, the flow just happens. And then a book, and this, and this, and this, and this. And, how long did that flow keep going, or is it still going?
It's still going. It's still going. I just had to make a decision.
Tell
I
us
had
more
to
about
make a
that.
decision.
Tell us
Had
more.
to make a decision. That decision was, no, you created me for purpose. I'm not here on this earth to just sit here. I wanted to do it. So, he showed me, he gave me direction during that time. And most importantly, he showed me you're not stuck. Everything you need, you have everything you need within your hands. Within here, you got it. You're not stuck. So he connected me with one of the most, I mean, I think he was one of the highest top earners in network marketing. He connected me with her. And she was on there every morning, motivating, inspiring people, 6:30 in the morning, giving people personal development. We needed that during that time. So when I found her and I got what I needed there, she would always bring high impact coaches and mentors to her platform. Met Paul Getter. I didn't use him at that time. I just started following him. And then after I retired and got here in Sarasota, my personal vision for my life is to travel the world to plant and water seeds as Jesus give the increase. I knew I needed to enhance my speaking. So when his ad came up, I said, "Oh, he's just in Naples, just an hour and a half away. I'm signing up."
It's
I
lovely.
signed up, and I signed it up just to enhance my speaking, not knowing that I was going to, join his inner circle and get so much more.
So, how does a day look in Felicia McCaskill's life?
A day, of course, it begins with, the meditation, pour it into me. And that's, praying, reading God's word. And then I move on to, pouring into finding out what's going on with the nonprofit with the girls in Pakistan, because, we're in different time zones. And then I'm working on my becoming her coaching. And it's just busy, 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 always, working on your craft daily.
That's interesting, isn't it? Working on your craft daily. So, it hasn't just fallen into your lap, has it?
No, I would say no. It hasn't just fallen. I had to work for it. But here's the thing, what I realized, Miss Mary, is that when God is calling you for a purpose, as long as you keep moving forward, putting one foot in front of the other, He's going to direct your path. And you are going to be exactly where He needs you to be to, serve whoever He has set aside to be served or poured into. And that's the beauty of it.
And some of that ingredients is faith, isn't it? Not only faith in God, obviously, but faith that this is the right path.
Absolutely.
Because we
Yes.
don't, it's my experience that we don't get validation every little centimeter of our journey. What's
Mhm.
one thing that's kept you on, apart from your deeply spiritual connection with God and how you live your life? What's one thing that's kept you putting one foot in front of the other, not only empowering yourself, but others?
One thing that's bigger for me, the whole journey is bigger than me. And I realize that it's not about me. It's about serving the people, serving the people. And I know that there's a need, um, especially during these days and times, there is a critical need for people to be empowered, to give them hope, and for them to reclaim their voices and reclaim their identity. I know that there is a huge need for that. And that's what keeps me going. It's bigger than me. So that's why I get up and do what I do, regardless of whether I feel like it or not. I get up and I, make provisions and I make steps towards that because it's bigger than me.
Because certainly myself, as a business coach, entrepreneur, etc., etc., I sometimes watch how many people start these journeys and fall by the wayside for a lot of different reasons.
Hmm.
And I think there's a lot of power in having what you've got behind you. We're talking about your mother, your faith, your belief. And the other thing that strikes me about you, Felicia, is your very strong set of values. How does that play out in your life?
Oh, bless you. My values, integrity, um, that's everything to me. And I'll tell you why. It's about, knowing who I'm doing it for, knowing that, God is trusting me with a mission. And when you know that He's entrusted you with this type of mission and that the mission is coming from Him, oh, you're going to do your best. You're going to give 100%. You're going to work as until like you're working for the Lord. I don't want to mishandle that. I want Him to trust me. I want Him to be smiling about, the work that I do. It's
Yes,
bigger than me.
that's right. I was talking I was speaking with my coaching group last night, and I said, sometimes in my life, I have approached things like my life depends on it. And they were looking, and I said, I believe that that's actually true because your life does depend on
Yeah,
your daily activities, your consistency, your persistency, your faith, your strength, all those values that drives us forward. But sometimes when I've run workshops and master classes and things, I say to people, write down your 5 top values. And I think, is that old fashioned now?
yeah, not at all. Unless I'm old fashioned. But no, I don't think so.
Well, but it's interesting, isn't it? And I think someone like you that's leading the way and leading with very strong values and a lot of integrity, you're certainly making your mark. What's your ultimate vision?
Ooh, Miss Mary, you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
My ultimate vision is to be known as one of the most sought after Christian women around the world. However, and I want to add on to that and say that with my nonprofit organization, the ultimate vision is to build over 11 global resorts around the world for girls and women to serve as a safe space where they can be educated, where they can be poured into anything that they need that will make them feel whole and worthy. We want that included at that resort.
That's quite a mission. And I'm forgive me, I was smiling because I was thinking, back to McDonald's, let's go for the high bar. So you mentioned Pakistan before. What's your work in Pakistan? Just give the audience a little insight to what you're actually doing.
What we're actually doing in Pakistan, wow, it's quite a mission. But most importantly, we start out with our main mission, which is to empower women to live impactful lives within their communities and to let them know, hey, you are worthy and you do have rights. Um, because when they first started, for quite a few, leaders from Pakistan that's on our team, and they said that they were so appreciative of Chica God Promise is because some of the women there don't even know their rights. They don't even know their worth. And to be quite honest with you, Miss Mary, when it was laid within my heart, within my spirit to start in Pakistan first, I didn't understand why. I was just doing it out of obedience. And it wasn't until maybe around the third person joined the organization, she was like, so happy for this and I appreciate the work that you're doing here. She said, because we don't even know our rights here. We don't even know our worth. And I said, there's my answer. That's the why. That's
That's
why we launched in Pakistan. I didn't know at first. I was just doing it out of obedience.
so if you impact many, many places in different continents. I'm just imagining the ripple effect. And if you just take one thing like worthiness, what a difference and what a vision to have, And I think sometimes, and I've done this in my life as well, I haven't actually known, and this is a really important note because you're saying, I think almost the same thing. I haven't actually known what the end result is, but I'm just following my intuition, my universe, my God, and just keep going and just keep going and just keep going. Why do you think people don't do that?
Mm, that's a great question. I think that let me just say this. It will be easy for me to quit and not follow my path if I didn't have the faith. Because sometimes you go through, like, say, we have this big vision, right? We have the vision, but sometimes things come along to to deter you, on your path and on your way. And when these hard things come along, you can easily say, well, maybe it's not meant to be. Or you can say, no, this is the vision, this is the purpose, and this is what God placed in my heart. I'm going to contend for it.
That's right.
So some people, don't, follow through on their mission and their vision because they take the easy way out. And that's to say, it's not meant to be, or it's too hard.
And in fact, the too hard is what builds our strength, right?
Mm, absolutely. Yes.
The other thing I was contemplating when I knew that I was speaking to you yesterday, I was thinking about leadership. And I was thinking, in your world, what do you think it takes to be a leader that people want to follow?
It takes consistency. It takes, integrity. It takes being authentic, transparency. It takes all of that. People have to see. Let me say this. I know you've heard the saying, people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Correct.
It takes all of that for people to believe in you.
Do you think that being a leader, you also, one of the criteria, if you like, is that you need to know how to follow yourself?
Absolutely. Yes. Most importantly, yes.
Because when you think
Because if
about,
I,
oh, sorry.
Mhm. No, because if I don't lead by example, why should you trust me? If I don't transform, or if I have not transformed, how can I lead you?
Yes, here's the evidence,
Right.
right? But I was thinking, that, and I'm sure you've met people over the years that they appear like the leader. It's just a mask. And then one day, what happens is that the followers are gone. And that's the moment of truth when that leader realizes, oh, I'm not really leading at all.
Mm,
I'm just stumbling. And I'm sure you know how much I value cheer squads. And I think leadership is such a, what's the word? It's such a privileged position. that certainly we witness now around the world how that gets distorted and broken.
Right.
And when you when you sit back, because you're a young woman, 20, 30 years from now, and look at the difference you make, how does that feel?
Mm. I think I will feel very, honored that, I've impacted or God allowed me to make a difference in the world. And not only that, Miss Mary, but most importantly, that, He used me as a vessel, whereas He will get all the honor and all the glory, not me. I'm just being used as a vessel. Because here's what I understand very clearly is that He said, if I be lifted up, He said, I'll draw all men unto me. So I go by that. And I just, I want to do what He says do. I want to say what He tells me to say and go where He tells me to go. And I know that, if I follow His lead, can't go wrong. Tried it my way, but this time I want to do it His way and out
And
of love.
and therefore you create people following your lead, doing as you do, aspiring to be more worthy and to and you were talking about rights. I was thinking, my goodness, we could go down the rabbit hole with that,
And
because and I haven't gone there today, but it's such a powerful tool that it's kind of like it's hidden. And,
Mhm.
there's things that we will never know unless we lift up the rock and look, or we ask better questions, because there's always a better question, isn't there?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Here today, I'm sure there's been better questions, but I think that's the excitement, that's the adventure of being open to expanding ourselves. And you are certainly one powerful woman leading the way. Um,
Thank you, Miss Me.
Before we go, I want you to tell us about writing books. What do you find the value of that?
The value in writing books is to better reach your audience, to better reach people. It's another form of reaching people, you know? And I want to explore every avenue there is to, share my story. Um, but most importantly, somebody else is going through what I've been through. And I want to give the world hope. And the best way is to reach them is through, the social media platforms. I'm getting ready to start the podcast, and books. You will find your people. So I think that's why I write books, and I love it. And it's also another way to release.
That's so true, isn't it? I always talk with my clients about take it out of here, give it form, take
Yeah,
I'm a fountain pen person. Take it and write. Don't do the typing.
right, right.
Keep the neural pathways open, and write. And what you're actually talking about is that all these paths, because they're all paths coming to one, aren't they?
Yes, they
Podcast,
are.
books, your not for profit, all of that have come together and leading to stepping up. It's, even since we first spoke, I can see you just keep stepping up, stepping up, stepping up. And I hope that that's what the audience takes from this. Is there any last words or sentence you'd like to give our audience today before we finish?
Just like to say that if you are feeling stuck and whatever you're doing, um, just remember that everything God created is good, and He created greatness in each and every one of us, each and every one of us have a gift and a talent. And guess what? My gift and my talent, I can only use it. And your gift and your talent, you can only use it. So go out there, just do it, and go bless the world with your gift and your talent.
That's beautiful. Felicia is so divine and personable and lovely. I do wish you well with such a wonderful mission, and I thank you so much for being
Thank
my
you,
guest
Miss
today.
Mary. Thank you so much. It's been an honor, and I was looking forward to this call. I feel like I have a new best friend here. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the richness of our lives. If today's conversation stirred something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Connect with me on social media, leave a review, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if you are ready to step into your own bold journey, join our vibrant Cheer Squad. We meet weekly for coaching and connection. Until next time, continue to embrace the richness of your life. I'm Mary Scott, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.